The streets of Celestia City buzzed with life as neon lights blinked above street vendors and crowded bars. But Adrian Kane wasn't here for any of that. With clenched fists in his coat pockets and his jaw locked in frustration, he stormed through the city, trying to walk off the rage burning inside him. Only a few hours ago, he had a heated argument with Vanessa, his girlfriend of 3 years. She had accused him of being emotionally dead, too obsessed with work and incapable of love. The final blow came when she dared to mention his late mother, implying that maybe she had failed to raise him with any warmth. That was it. Adrian had stormed out of his mansion, leaving behind his phone, his driver, everything. He just needed space, air to breathe without judgment. As he turned into a busy avenue near the metro line, brushing past groups of students and lovers, something strange happened. A feather-light touch, too gentle to be accidental. His instincts, sharpened by years of business deceit and boardroom manipulation, screamed at him. He stopped dead in his tracks and spun around. There, slipping into the crowd like a ghost, was a girl no older than 21. Her hoodie was stained, her jeans torn at the knees, and she moved with the agility of someone who knew how to disappear. But Adrian's eyes caught it, that glimmer in her hand. His wallet. "Hey," he barked. She froze. Their eyes met, hers wide and panicked, his dark with fury. Then she bolted. Without a second thought, Adrian chased her. Through the crowd, past a fruit stall that tumbled under her swift feet, around a corner, over a sleeping stray dog. His expensive coat flapped behind him, his polished shoes now scuffed, but he didn't stop. He shouted, "Stop that girl!" But the world didn't care. No one did. She veered into a narrow alley, drenched in shadows and garbage. Adrian followed, his breath sharp, his rage boiling. She scaled a fence like she'd done it her whole life. He hesitated, then, fueled by sheer adrenaline, climbed after her, ripping his shirt on a metal spike in the process. She landed with a thud, but when she turned, he was already there. He grabbed her wrist. "You think you can steal from me and just run? Let go of me," she cried, struggling. He yanked his wallet from her pocket. "You picked the wrong man to mess with." Her lips trembled, but she raised her chin. "You rich people think you're untouchable, and you street rats think stealing is survival. I didn't have a choice." That stopped him cold. For the first time, Adrian looked at her properly. Hollow cheeks, trembling hands, torn clothes. Not fear, but cold, hunger, desperation. "What's your name?" he asked suddenly. She blinked. "Why do you care?" "Because I'm not calling you thief all night." "Alina," she said after a pause. "Alina Reyes." Adrian stared at her. Something about her felt real. He let go of her wrist, slid his wallet back into his coat. "Come with me." Her eyes narrowed. "Why?" "I'm not calling the police. But you owe me an explanation." Dinner, somewhere warm. The alley faded into the background as Adrian Kane and Alina Reyes walked in silence. The cold wind rustled through the city streets, but inside Adrian's mind, a storm was brewing. He couldn't understand why he hadn't called the police, why he was walking beside the same girl who'd just stolen from him. But something about her, her eyes, the fire in her voice, the rawness, felt more honest than the designer-drenched people he was used to. They ended up at a small roadside bar tucked between two hardware stores. It wasn't 5-star, but it was warm, the lights were soft, and the aroma of pepper soup and grilled meat hung in the air like comfort itself. They sat at a corner table. The waiter approached. 2 plates of rice and chicken, add fried plantain, and 2 cold drinks, Adrian said, his voice calm but commanding. Alina sat quietly, eyeing everything like she was in a dream. She hadn't sat in a proper restaurant in over a year. Her body was stiff, her hands still trembling, but she didn't want to seem weak. She pulled her hoodie tighter and forced herself to act like this was normal. The food came. She stared at the plate for a moment, then picked up her spoon. The first bite made her eyes close. She hadn't tasted proper food in days. Weeks maybe. Adrian noticed. He said nothing but took a sip of his drink, watching her. After a few minutes, he broke the silence. "So, why pickpocketing?" She paused, her spoon halfway to her mouth. Her lips parted, but no words came. She swallowed hard. "You wouldn't understand. Try me." Alina put her spoon down, wiped her mouth with the back of her hand and exhaled. "My mother died when I was 15. My father got sick a year later. Real sick. I dropped out of school to take care of him. The hospital said he needed surgery. 10 million naira. She laughed dryly. "Like I even had 10,000. Adrian didn't interrupt. I begged. I tried cleaning houses, washing plates. Nothing worked. So I started stealing. Only small things at first. Phones, wallets. I hated it, but I hated the thought of my father dying more." Adrian leaned back in his chair, eyes locked on hers. He could feel the honesty in her voice, the pain, the guilt. "You ever been caught before?" "Twice," she said. "Once they beat me. Other time, I escaped." He nodded slowly. "You're lucky you picked me." Alina raised an eyebrow. "Lucky? You chased me over fences." Adrian smirked. "True, but you're still sitting here, aren't you?" They both chuckled. For the first time that night, the weight on their shoulders felt lighter. Alina took another bite. "I never drank alcohol before." "You'll survive." One glass became two. Two became four. They talked about life, pain, fear. Alina's sarcasm made Adrian laugh in a way he hadn't laughed in years. And she, in turn, found herself smiling more than she'd expected. By the time they stumbled out of the bar, both were light-headed. The night air wrapped around them like a secret. Adrian hailed a taxi, and they both climbed in, slumping into the back seat. As the car pulled away, Alina's head slowly dropped onto Adrian's shoulder. He didn't move. He just stared at her. A pickpocket. A stranger. But somehow, in that moment, she felt closer than anyone else ever had. Sunlight poured through the thin curtains, warm and golden, as the city of Celestia began to stir. Birds chirped faintly outside. Inside Adrian Kane's penthouse guest room, everything was still, except for one small rising breath. Adrian stirred, stretched, and slowly opened his eyes. It took him only seconds to realize. He wasn't alone. He turned his head, and there she was. Alina Reyes, still asleep, her hair slightly messy, one arm draped off the side of the bed, her chest rising and falling in soft rhythm. For a moment, Adrian just stared at her, unsure whether to panic or laugh. He shook her shoulder gently. "Hey, Alina, wake up." Her eyes fluttered open. She blinked a few times, then sat up quickly. "What time is it?" she asked, squinting against the sunlight. "That's not the question," Adrian replied, rubbing the back of his neck. "The real question is, what happened last night?" Alina froze. She looked around the room, then at herself, then back at him. Her voice cracked. I don't know. I swear. I've never had alcohol before. Everything is just blank." They both sat in silence. The memory of laughter, drinks, and warmth swirled like fog in the corners of their minds, but nothing was clear. "Well," Adrian said finally, "we're both fully clothed, and there's no mess. So maybe We just passed out. Let's hope so, Alina mumbled, looking down at her hands, ashamed. Adrian's tone softened. Hey, it's okay. I'm not angry. But I want to ask something. Yesterday, what you told me about your father, was it true? Alina nodded slowly, her voice trembling. Yes, every word. Tears welled in her eyes. I lost my mom 5 years ago. My dad, he's all I have. But he's so sick now. The doctors say he needs surgery soon, or he won't make it. I tried everything. I even begged in the streets. Nobody helped. So I started stealing. Adrian listened without a word. I didn't want to, she added quickly. I hated it. But watching my father slowly die, it's worse than anything. How much do you need? Adrian asked quietly. 10 million naira. Adrian leaned back, staring at the ceiling for a moment. Then he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a silver bank card. There's about 12 million in this account, he said, handing it to her. Use it for the surgery and to get your life back. Alina stared at the card like it was a dream. Her hands shook. Are you serious? She whispered. Very. Without warning, she threw her arms around him, tears streaming down her cheeks. Thank you so much, sir. Call me Adrian, he said softly, chuckling. She pulled back, wiping her eyes. I swear, I'll never steal again. You better not, Adrian said with a smile. And don't worry, I'll come with you to the hospital. Let's get your father the help he needs. But before they could leave, Adrian's phone rang loudly. It was his father. Adrian, the voice said urgently. Get to the office. Now. It's important. Adrian frowned. I'm coming. He turned to Alina. Something's come up. Go to the hospital without me. I'll join you later. Alina nodded. Holy Mercy Clinic. Behind the old stadium. My dad's name is Mr. Gabriel Reyes. Adrian memorized it, grabbed his keys, and rushed out. As the door slammed shut behind him, Alina stood in the quiet room, clutching the silver card to her chest, tears of hope running down her face. For the first time in years, she believed things might finally change. Alina stood in the middle of the room, holding the silver bank card close to her chest, like a treasure from heaven. Her heart was thumping with hope. She had barely slept last night, but it didn't matter. Today, she would finally get her father the help he needed. Today, her nightmare would end. She gently folded the card into her pocket and walked toward the door with a new kind of strength in her steps. But just as she opened it, Vanessa walked in. Alina froze. Vanessa stood in high heels, her lipstick a bold red, her perfectly straightened hair cascading over her shoulders like a snake's tongue. Her cold eyes scanned Alina from head to toe and narrowed sharply. Who the hell are you? She spat. Alina stepped back a little, caught off guard, but still managed to answer respectfully. Good afternoon, Ma. I'm Tom. I didn't ask for greetings, Vanessa snapped. I asked who you are. Alina's heart pounded. She hesitated, then lied. I was attacked by some boys on the street last night. Mr. Adrian helped me. He brought me here to rest. Vanessa let out a cruel, mocking laugh. She circled Alina like a lioness around a lamb. So now my man is rescuing stray dogs from the street. Alina looked away, her eyes wet with shame. Vanessa stepped closer, her voice dripping with venom. Let me make something clear. Adrian Kane would never look at a dirty, useless girl like you. Just look at yourself. Do you even own a mirror? Alina clenched her fists, but she didn't reply. Then Vanessa spotted the silver card sticking out of Alina's hoodie pocket. Her eyes gleamed. And what's that?
Alina gripped the card tighter. My father is sick. Mr. Adrian gave me this. He said I should use the money in it for surgery. Before she could finish, Vanessa snatched the card from her hands. Hey, that's for my father, Alina cried out. Vanessa scoffed. Please, you think a man like Adrian would give you money? You think he's some kind of charity organization? She waved the card in Alina's face. There's nothing in here. It's just a shiny lie. Alina's heart dropped. No, she whispered. Yes, Vanessa said, sneering. That's what Adrian does. He plays with little girls like you, makes promises, then disappears. You were just entertainment for one night. Tears streamed down Alina's cheeks. Give me back the card, she said in a shaking voice.
Vanessa threw it to the ground. There, take your plastic fantasy. Alina picked it up, trembling. Then something shifted in her. Her shame turned to fire. You are wicked, she said softly. You don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. You think wealth gives you the right to mock others. But I may be poor, ma'am, but I have something you clearly don't. Vanessa folded her arms. And what's that? A soul. With that, Alina turned and walked out. Her pride shattered, her hope crushed, but her dignity still intact. As she left the mansion, she didn't look back. She just walked. Tears ran down her face as she moved through the city streets once again. She no longer knew what to believe. Was Adrian lying? Was the card really empty? She arrived at Holy Mercy Clinic, holding on to one last thread of hope. Inside, her father, Mr. Gabriel Reyes, was barely awake. "Papa," she whispered, sitting beside him. He smiled weakly. "Where have you been, my child? I didn't sleep last night. I thought something happened." "I'm here now," Alina said, squeezing his hand. "Everything will be okay." But just then, the doctor entered the room. It was Dr. Leonard, his face stern, holding a file in his hands. "Alina," he said, "we need to talk." She stood, already afraid. "Your father's bills are long overdue, and the surgery still hasn't been paid for." Alina's chest tightened. "If we don't receive payment by tomorrow morning," he added quietly, "we'll have no choice but to discharge him." "No, please," she whispered. "I just need a little more time." The doctor looked at her with tired eyes. "I'm sorry." As he left, silence fell like a heavy blanket. Her father turned his face to the wall. A tear slipped down his cheek, and Alina sat in that cold room, holding the worthless card to her chest, wondering how something that once felt like a miracle could suddenly feel like a curse. Alina Reyes stood just outside the hospital, the sun blazing above her like it wanted to burn her pain into the world. Her legs felt like iron, her stomach hollow, and her eyes swollen from crying. She clutched the useless silver card in her hand. It felt heavier than gold. She walked without direction, down the dusty road, people passing her like she was invisible. Her mind kept screaming the same question. Was the card fake? Did Adrian lie? She wanted to go back to his house, to find answers, but the thought of facing Vanessa again made her stomach twist. That woman had spit venom like it was perfume. Alina wasn't sure she could survive another round. Then the idea hit her. Adrian's office. She turned back toward the main road, but paused. Where does he work? Her face dropped. She didn't even know. "I have no one," she whispered. "I have nothing." With nowhere to turn, she tried to beg. "Please, sir," she said to a passerby. "My father is very sick." The man didn't even look at her. "Ma'am, please, just a little help." The woman crossed the street to avoid her. Some frowned, some insulted her. One man shouted, "Lazy girl, go and work." The words cut deeper than knives. Alina's body gave up. She slid down beside a wall, burying her face in her hands. She sobbed, not just for her father, but for herself, for being young and broken in a world that didn't care. At the same time, miles away in a sleek office building with glass walls and polished floors, Adrian Kane leaned back in his chair. He had just received a message on his phone, 012-00000, withdrawal from your account. He smiled. She paid, he whispered. Her father will be okay. For the first time in days, his heart felt light. His father, Mr. Williams Kane, who had been watching him from the visitor's chair, raised an eyebrow. What's with the smile? Nothing, Adrian replied, chuckling. You wouldn't understand. Mr. Williams leaned forward. You're hiding something. Spill. Adrian finally looked at him. Just helped someone today. Felt good. They both laughed, but neither knew the storm that had already begun. Adrian had no idea that Vanessa had stolen the card and lied to Alina. No idea that Alina was back on the streets, homeless again. No idea that Mr. Gabriel Reyes, the man he thought he had saved, was about to be thrown out of the hospital. That evening, as the sky turned grey, the door to the Reyes' tiny rented room swung open. The landlord, Mr. Ogundad, stormed in, his face red with rage. You people must leave this house today, he shouted. Alina came running from the back. Please, sir, my father is sick. Just give us a little more time. No more time, he barked. 6 months you haven't paid. Do you think I'm running a charity? Please, she begged, falling to her knees. I'm trying. I swear I'll pay you. Just 1 more week. Not even 1 more hour. The landlord roared. I'll be back in the afternoon. You better be gone. And with that, he stormed out. Alina turned slowly toward her father. He lay on the mat, his eyes half closed, his breath slow and painful. She bent down, her tears falling onto his blanket. Papa, we have to leave. His voice was barely a whisper. Go. Where? She didn't answer. There was no answer. But she stood up, stepped outside, and came back with an old rusty wheelbarrow someone had thrown out behind the compound. She gently helped her father into it, placing a pillow under his head and a wrapper over his legs. Forgive me, Papa, she whispered. I don't know what else to do. And under the blazing sun, she began to push, past the stairs, past the whispers, past the pain. Tears streamed down her cheeks as the wheelbarrow rattled down the road, carrying a dying man and a daughter who had already lost everything but wasn't ready to let go. Alina pushed the rusted wheelbarrow through the cracked roads of Celestia City. Her back ached, her arms burned, but she didn't stop. Every time she looked at her father's weak body, wrapped in a faded wrapper, her resolve hardened. People stared. Some whispered. A few even laughed. But she kept moving. She pushed for almost an hour, until she reached the edge of town. There stood an abandoned, unfinished building, walls without plaster, no roof, windows like gaping wounds. But to Alina, it was shelter. She pushed her father inside. It was silent, broken, but at least it was empty. Papa, she said, trying to sound cheerful, we'll stay here for now, just for a little while. I'll find a way, I promise. Mr. Gabriel Reyes looked around with hollow eyes. I'm sorry, my daughter. I failed you. No, Papa, Alina replied quickly, placing a scarf under his head like a pillow. You didn't fail me. Life failed us. But I'm not done fighting. She stepped out and rushed to the market. With the few coins she had left, a kind fruit seller gave her a small plate of white rice and a sachet of water. She ran back to the abandoned building. Papa, she said softly, please eat, just a little. But he turned his head. No, my child, let me go. The ancestors are calling me. My time is near.
No, Alina snapped, tears in her voice. Don't say that. You will live. You will eat. You will walk again. She held his hand tightly. You are all I have. He looked into her eyes, his voice trembling. You are a good daughter. May the heavens reward you. Then his eyes began to close again. Alina stood suddenly. No, I'm not giving up. She placed the food by his side. Wait for me, Papa. I'll go get medicine. Just stay right here. She ran out of the building like a bullet. Meanwhile, at that very moment, a black SUV rolled to a stop in front of the same abandoned building. Adrian Kane stepped out, wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, accompanied by one bodyguard. He was here to inspect the site. He had bought the land a week ago, planning to build a new tech office. He took a deep breath, looking at the skeleton of concrete and brick. But then, something stopped him.
A figure, lying motionless on the dusty floor. Wait, he said, rushing forward. What's that? His bodyguard bent down, checked the pulse. He's alive, but barely. Get the ambulance, Adrian barked. Now. Within minutes, the sirens wailed. Paramedics lifted the unconscious Mr. Gabriel onto a stretcher. Adrian followed in his SUV, heart pounding, unsure why this man's life was suddenly his responsibility, but somehow it felt right. At Celestia Private Hospital, doctors moved quickly. Machines beeped. Nurses shouted. Time blurred. A surgeon came out, his gloves already stained. Sir, he said, looking at Adrian, this man is in critical condition. His body is shutting down. If we don't operate now, he won't survive the night. Adrian didn't blink. Do it. I don't care about the cost. Just save him. The doctor nodded and rushed back in. At that exact moment, Alina returned to the abandoned building, holding a plastic bag filled with medicine and 2 slices of bread. Her voice was full of hope. Papa, I got it. Medicine. Food. Papa. Silence. She ran to the corner. The food was still there. The wrapper was still there. But her father, gone. Her breath caught. Her hands shook. She dropped the bag and screamed, Papa! She searched every inch of the building. Nothing. Her mind spiraled. Oh God, they took him. The enemies have succeeded. Maybe ritualists. Maybe kidnappers. Her body collapsed beside the food. Then she stood up. Her eyes narrowed. Adrian. She ran to his mansion, this time determined not to let Vanessa stop her. As she reached the gates, the security guard recognized her and let her in. But there she was again. Vanessa, smirking, sipping a glass of juice. Well, well, she said. The little beggar returns. Alina folded her hands, her voice low but desperate. Please, I don't want trouble. I just need somewhere to stay. Just for the night. My father is gone. I came back and he wasn't there. Vanessa laughed cruelly. Oh, please, don't start your street drama here. I'm begging you, Alina whispered. One night. You better get out of here, Vanessa snapped. Before I call the police. You poor things never learn. Alina's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. I'm not here for Adrian. I just want to survive. But Vanessa wasn't done. Then go back to the gutter you came from. And with that she slammed the door. Alina walked back into the street, alone again, her body shaking, her heart bleeding. She sat on the curb and whispered into the air, Lord, what kind of life is this? Tears streamed down her face as the night wrapped its arms around her like a cruel whisper. The street was busy, but for Alina Reyes, the world had gone silent. She sat on the curb like a forgotten shadow, her arms wrapped around her knees, her body trembling in rhythm with her tears. Her eyes stared blankly at the ground, as if it might whisper some hidden solution. People walked past her. None of them looked twice. Please, she whispered into the void. Wherever my father is, let him be alive. Then a soft voice broke the silence. My daughter, what's wrong? She turned slowly. An old man stood before her, dressed in a simple white native robe. He had a long grey beard, kind eyes, and a walking stick. His presence was calming, like a gentle breeze on a hot day. Alina stood up, wiping her face quickly. Sir, I left my father in an abandoned building to go get him medicine. When I returned, he was gone. I searched everywhere. I was going to go to the police, but they won't help unless I pay. The old man nodded slowly, listening without interrupting. I don't know what to do, she continued. I feel like the whole world is against me. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Your father is not dead. Alina blinked. What? He is alive, the man said calmly. Go to the doctor, the one who helped you before. You will find your answers there. Her heart skipped. How do you know that? But before he could answer, a car horn blared nearby. She turned instinctively, and when she looked back, the man was gone. No sign of him, no footsteps, no trace. She stood frozen, eyes wide. Was that an angel? She didn't wait. Hope ignited in her chest like fire. She ran as fast as she could, her legs shaky, but fueled by a sudden strength. Back at Celestia Private Hospital, Dr. Leonard stood at the front desk, reviewing patient files. He was tired. It had been a long, emotional week. Then he heard it. Doctor, a breathless voice cried. He turned. There she was. Alina, he asked, rushing toward her. Are you okay? Please, she gasped. My father, was he brought here? Please tell me he's alive. Dr. Leonard blinked. Wait, your father is Mr. Gabriel Reyes. Yes, she shouted. His face changed. Alina, I haven't seen you in days. Where have you been? I've been searching, she said, her voice cracking. I left him in an abandoned building. When I came back, he was gone. Dr. Leonard placed a hand over his heart. Alina, listen to me. I haven't seen him, not since you both left the other hospital. Alina's face went pale. She stumbled backward. No, you have to check again. Please. He gently held her by the arms. Calm down, Alina. But her body gave up. She collapsed into his arms. A few hours later, Alina opened her eyes in a small hospital room. A drip was attached to her arm. She blinked slowly, her mind foggy. Dr. Leonard appeared beside her with a small smile. Welcome back. You fainted. She tried to sit up. What happened? He sighed. You've been under a lot of stress. But, Alina, we found something else. She looked at him, confused. He sat down gently beside her bed. You're 2 weeks pregnant. The world stopped. What? She whispered. You're pregnant, Alina. He repeated gently. And the stress you've been carrying, it's dangerous. You're lucky you didn't lose the baby. She stared at the ceiling, her breath frozen. She wasn't just alone. She was pregnant. Her hand slowly moved to her stomach. How can I raise a child when I can't even feed myself? Leonard leaned forward. Children are blessings, Alina. Don't give up. You're stronger than you think. He stood to leave. I'll tell the nurse to bring you some food. You need to rest. He walked out quietly. Alina lay there, frozen. Tears streamed down her face. For a moment she felt cursed. Then she whispered to the ceiling, Please, let me find my father. Let him be okay. I'll do anything. Just don't let me lose him too. She closed her eyes and prayed. The soft knock on the hospital room door barely stirred Alina Reyes, who lay still on the bed, her eyes red and puffy from crying. Her hand rested protectively over her stomach. For the first time, it wasn't just about survival. It was about a future she hadn't planned, a life she now carried within her. The door creaked open. Adrian Kane stepped in slowly,
carrying a small shopping bag and a concerned expression. When their eyes met, her breath caught. "Adrian," she whispered, stunned. He stepped closer. "Doctor, Leonard called me. He kept the number I gave him. I've been looking for you, Alina." She sat up slowly, unsure of how to feel, relieved or angry. But Adrian's face shifted to serious. "I have a question, and I need the truth."
She blinked. He spoke firmly. "Why didn't you pay your father's hospital bill? I gave you the card. You said you needed 10 million. That account had 12. Alina's expression changed immediately. Her jaw trembled. You think I ran off with your money?" Adrian raised a brow. "What else am I supposed to think? Did you give it to someone? A boyfriend?" That was the last straw. Her voice rose. "How dare you? You think I'm just like those girls in your circle? That I saw your money and used you? Then what happened?" he asked. Voice harder now. "Tell me." She burst, shouting through tears. "Vanessa stole the card." Adrian froze. "What? After you left that morning?" Alina continued. "She came in, insulted me, took the card from me, and told me it was fake. She laughed in my face, said you just played me. I believed her. I thought, maybe you were never serious, so I walked away." Adrian's heart sank. He whispered, "She what?" Alina nodded, now sobbing again. "That's why I never paid. That's why my father got kicked out. That's why I ended up on the street again. All because I trusted the wrong people and doubted the right one." Adrian sat slowly at the edge of the bed, speechless. So that's where the money went. The 12 million naira. Vanessa had used it. He clenched his fists. "That's how she bought that red car," he muttered. "She told me she'd been saving. I believed her. God." Alina wiped her eyes. "It's not your fault. I should have fought harder. I should have told someone sooner." "No," Adrian said gently. "I should have protected you." Then he remembered something. His face lit up. "Your father, Alina. We saved a man from an abandoned building 2 days ago. He was barely breathing. I had gone to inspect one of my construction sites. We called an ambulance. He's here, in this hospital." Her breath stopped. She stood up quickly. "What? My father? Are you sure?" Adrian nodded. Old man, grey beard, thin, wore a white wrapper. She covered her mouth. "That's him. Oh my God, that's him." Adrian gently held her shoulders. "He had surgery. He's recovering now. The doctors say he's stable." Alina collapsed into his chest, crying, not from pain, but from joy. "Thank you. Thank you." Adrian didn't let go. He just held her, gently stroking her hair. After a long moment, she pulled away slightly, her eyes still glistening. "There's something else," she said, voice trembling. Adrian looked into her eyes. "What is it?" "I'm pregnant," she whispered. "Dr. Leonard told me today." His expression didn't change. He just stared. Alina continued. "I didn't tell you earlier, because I didn't know how you'd react. And now," Adrian's voice was soft, "is it mine? You're the only man I've ever been with." He looked down, then back up, his eyes full of something she didn't expect. "Peace. Then keep it," he said gently. Her lips parted. "What? Keep the baby. I want to be here. For you, for the child. I want to do this. Right." She stared at him, shaking. "But, Vanessa," he stood. "Vanessa's gone. After what she did to you, to your father, I want nothing to do with her." Alina couldn't speak. He took her hand. "You're not alone anymore." Later that evening, Adrian Kane drove home from the hospital, the city lights flickering across the windshield like silent promises. His mind wasn't on business deals or meetings. It was on Alina, her tears, her strength, her forgiveness, and most of all, the truth. The moment he stepped inside his mansion, he saw Vanessa lounging on the velvet couch, scrolling on her phone, sipping wine like she hadn't committed a betrayal that almost destroyed someone's life. She looked up and smiled. "Hey baby, you're home." Adrian didn't smile back. "Vanessa," he said coldly, stepping forward. "We need to talk." She sighed dramatically. "What now?" "I went to the hospital today," he said, his voice sharper than glass. "I saw Alina. I know everything." Vanessa blinked. "Saw her? What do you mean?" He didn't wait. "You stole the card, lied to her, took the money I gave to save her father's life, and used it to buy a car." Vanessa scoffed, tossing her hair. "So what if I did? She's a nobody. And you're my man. Or did you forget?" Adrian clenched his jaw. "No, Vanessa, I didn't forget. I just woke up." She stood up, her voice rising. "So what now? You're breaking up with me over some gutter girl?" "No," he said. "I'm breaking up with you because you're cruel, heartless, selfish." Vanessa stepped closer, her voice shrill. "You'll regret this, Adrian. Do you know how many men would die to be with me?" Adrian stepped aside and opened the front door. "Let them have you." Vanessa stared at him in disbelief, then grabbed her bag, her heels clicking angrily against the marble floor. "You'll come crawling back." He didn't reply. She slammed the door behind her, leaving behind the scent of her expensive perfume and the weight of years of fake love. Adrian stood still for a moment, then exhaled deeply. For the first time, he felt free. 2 days later, Mr. Gabriel Reyes was discharged from the hospital. He was weaker than before, but alive, thanks to the surgery and to Adrian's intervention. His eyes sparkled with quiet gratitude. Adrian had insisted on picking them up himself, but instead of driving them back to the cramped room or the broken house, he took a detour. As they pulled into a peaceful neighborhood, Alina stared out the window, confused. "Where are we?" Adrian smiled as he stepped out of the car and opened the passenger door. He pointed to a cream-colored bungalow with a flower garden and a wide porch. "This is your new home." She froze. "What?" "I bought it. For you, for your father, for the baby." Tears filled her eyes instantly. "Adrian, I don't even have words." "You don't need words," he said. "You deserve this. You deserve peace." Mr. Gabriel stepped out slowly, leaning on Adrian's shoulder. He looked around with wide eyes, then lifted his hands toward the sky. "Thank you, Lord. You have answered my daughter's cry." Alina dropped to her knees in the grass, overwhelmed. "I never dreamed." Adrian helped her up gently. "Dream more." Weeks passed. Healing happened, inside and out. Adrian introduced Alina to his father, Mr. Williams Kane, who welcomed her with warmth and respect. He admired her resilience and praised Adrian for finally choosing with his heart instead of his status. Then one quiet evening, under a tree in the backyard, Adrian went down on one knee. He held out a small, elegant ring. "Alina Reyes," he said softly, "you walked into my life at my lowest and somehow gave it meaning. Will you marry me?" Alina gasped. She covered her mouth with both hands, tears flowing freely. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring onto her finger, and they embraced, laughter echoing into the soft wind. The wedding was small, but it was magical. Held in the garden of their new home, the ceremony was surrounded by love, music, and the scent of blooming jasmine. White chairs were arranged beneath a canopy of fairy lights. The sky above was a golden hue, like heaven smiling down on them. Alina Reyes, dressed in a flowing white gown with lace sleeves
and a sunflower tucked behind her ear, walked barefoot down the aisle, her hand resting gently on her belly. She glowed, not just with pregnancy, but with peace. Adrian Kane stood waiting, tears in his eyes, his tailored suit slightly wrinkled from nervous pacing. He had faced boardrooms, billion-dollar mergers, and international press, but today, standing before this girl who once tried to steal his wallet, he felt more humbled than ever. When they finally joined hands, everyone went silent. The officiant smiled. "Do you, Adrian Kane, take Alina Reyes to be your wife, your partner, your forever?" "I do," he whispered, eyes never leaving hers. "And do you, Alina Reyes, take Adrian Kane to walk beside you, through struggle and joy, through fear and love?" "I do," she said, her voice soft and steady. "You may kiss the bride." And as they did, the crowd erupted in applause. Mr. Gabriel Reyes, sitting proudly in a wheelchair at the front row, clapped harder than anyone else, his face glowing with tears and pride. Later at the reception, he gave a short speech. "My daughter was born in pain. She lived in hardship, but she never gave up. Today, I watched her rise like a star from the streets to the skies, and I thank God for this new beginning." That night, Adrian and Alina danced under the stars, holding each other close. Months later, in the quiet of a sunny hospital room, a soft cry echoed. Alina, tears in her eyes, held her newborn son close to her chest. Adrian, sitting beside her, kissed her forehead, his hand trembling as he touched the baby's tiny fingers. "He's perfect," Alina whispered. Adrian smiled, voice thick with emotion. "What should we name him?" She looked down at the sleeping baby, then back at him. "Emmanuel," she said. Adrian blinked. "Why?" "Because it means God is with us," she said. "Through everything, through the streets, the heartbreak, the lies, and even the hope, we were never alone." Adrian nodded, overcome with emotion. "Emmanuel it is." In the years that followed, they built a life not out of money, but meaning. Alina opened a foundation for street children, helping other young girls like she once was. Adrian supported her, shifting his focus from power to purpose. Gabriel spent his final years in peace, watching his daughter live a life he once only dreamed for her. And Emmanuel Kane grew up in a house filled with stories of struggle, of faith, and of love born not from perfection, but perseverance. As for Vanessa, her fate was less kind. She fell for a man who promised her luxury, but left her penniless and alone. By the time she was 6 months pregnant, she realized he had no wealth, no job, and no intention of staying. She was forced to beg from the same streets she once mocked. Everything she once laughed at Alina for became her own reality. Give this story a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs hope, and hit subscribe for more powerful life-changing stories. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed.